City of Lawrence Common Council, the meeting is now called to order. Can everyone please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we thank you tonight for bringing us here safely, and I pray, Lord, that your blessings and your grace and your mercy be shown upon this city and the public servants who go out every day on behalf of the citizens of Lawrence. And they put their lives on the line and they put others above themselves. I pray, Lord, that you will be over this meeting, and that as we leave here tonight, that you will always help us to remember that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart always be acceptable in your sight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a quorum. Counselor Denny will be joining via conference call here shortly. Next, we have comments of council members and special recognitions or resolutions. Do we have any?
Madam Chair, I would like to ask the fire department, Dino Patalis, about the Christmas giveaway we usually do at Christmas time. Are we still going to do that, and how are we going to do it?
Chief?
Good evening. Our plan is to move forward with this program, and still we're a couple months away, so we're not sure what the governor's going to do as far as that late in the year. It's scheduled right now for December 18th and 19th. I'm sure we're going to facilitate this program somehow just because of the need, and it mainly has to do with the Lawrence Township school kids. So as far as I know right now, we are planning on fulfilling that. And if we have to modify it a little bit, but it will go on somehow that we get these gifts and food to the families.
Thank you.
I'll keep everybody updated. I'll send an email out.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Okay, seeing none. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes of regular meetings of September 8th and 16th, 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Counselor Russell.
I'll second.
Second, Counselor Rusamoroff. Is there any discussion? All in favor by show of hands. Motion carries unanimous.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's working because it didn't ask me to enter my name like it normally does.
Next on the agenda, we have signing of vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment. Is there a motion?
I make the motion.
Motion, Counselor Freeman.
Second.
Second, Counselor Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands. Motion carries unanimous. Next, we have reports of committees. First report is for Finance, and Counselor Chevlot, the co-chair, will be, vice chair, will be giving that report.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee did meet, and there were two amended ordinances that the full committee moved out of, I'm sorry, it was a full unanimous vote out of committee for all four, which is Proposal 8, 9, 10, and 11, two of which were amended, which is the elected official salary and the general budget.
Okay, do we have a motion on any of those?
We need, it's just a committee report.
Yeah, I know, but somebody's going to make a motion to pass it.
Oh, yeah.
So is there a motion on any of those resolutions?
Sure, I'll start with proposal number 8, 2020. I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Counselor Giles. Any discussion? Resolution number 8, 2010. I'm sorry, it can't be resolution number 8. It is proposal Number 8,
No, it can't be.
2020.
That's the budget.
It's gotta be the public hearing.
That's the budget.
Okay. Okay, as you were. Proposal number 9, number 10, and number 11 are
we
the
go.
3 proposals that can be voted on tonight. So let's start with proposal number 9, 2020. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve proposal number 9.
Motion, Counselor Chevlot.
Have we amended that motion in full council?
We did not amend the fixing the salaries of appointed officers and employees.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got them mixed up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Counselor Rusamoroff. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands, proposal number 9, 2020? Motion carries unanimous. This one is going to go a lot easier. Proposal number 10, 2020.
I make a motion. It was passed out of committee unanimously that we approve proposal number 10 to 2020.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carries unanimous. Proposal number 11, 2020.
Make a motion that we accept the amended proposal number 11, establishing compensation for elected officials.
Second,
I'll second.
okay? Any discussion? Motion to approve the amended version of proposal number 11, 2020. All in favor by show of hands? Motion carries unanimous. Now we need another motion on that.
Make a motion that we approve the amended version that was just voted on.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carries unanimous. New business, proposal number 12, 2020. The clerk will read it by title.
Did we do,
We want a resolution 8.
wait, I'm confused. No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution number 8, 2020.
Committee report, Mayor.
proposal, did we do proposal 9?
Counselor Whitfield?
Did we do proposal 9? I think we
Yes.
just did 10 and 11.
We did 9, 10, and 11, and they all unanimous
Okay,
votes.
so now we're on 12.
We're on the resolution number 8, 2020. And we're going to have a committee report by Counselor Whitfield.
Thank you, Madam President. The Economic Development Committee met and would like to recommend to the full council the sale of property owned by Lawrence Redevelopment Commission, Resolution Number 8, 2020.
Okay? Is there a motion?
Did she make the motion or she was? I'm sorry.
It was recommended
It was recommended.
by the council, and it's a resolution, so is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Motion?
approve.
Motion, Counselor Rusamoroff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Counselor Giles. Any discussion?
I just have one quick question. This was for all 3 properties that Mr. Zerner shared? Okay, thank you.
For all 3 properties.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor by show of hands? Motion carries unanimous. Whew. Okay. We had a lot there. New business, proposal number 12, 2020.
Can I interrupt? We need to conduct the public hearing of the budget.
Late. Yeah, I thought so.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's
Follow my lead, and
Okay.
we'll go back up to, we're going to get everything done under unfinished, and we're going to do our,
That's why I'm getting confused because we're jumping around.
okay, my agenda, my meeting. So we're going to finish unfinished business because I want to, new business. I want to get that done. We have Mr. Bosma here. He's going to present, and then we will do our public hearing, okay? So proposal number 12, 2020.
Let me read it by
Can you
title.
read it by title, please?
Proposal number 12, 2020, introduced by Councilor Chavis, a proposal for an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, electing to withdraw from the Marion County Stormwater Management District.
Mr. Bosma.
Thank you, Madam President. Brian Bosma with the law firm of Kroger, Gardis, and Regas, serving as special counsel to the city on the matter of the proposal to withdraw the city from the Marion County Stormwater District and establishment of the City of Lawrence Stormwater District. So I do have a presentation for you. I'm going to update a couple of the items in there. I've got hard copies of this if someone would like that, as well as in addition to the other materials that were shared with you. I do have those hard copies if someone would like those. So just a little history first. The Marion County Stormwater Management District was established in 2000 pursuant to legislation that was adopted in 1998 and 1999 by the Indiana General Assembly. The Marion County Stormwater District was formed throughout Marion County. Southport and Cumberland were excluded from inception, as there was an opportunity to establish your own stormwater district before the Marion County Stormwater District was formed, and consequently exclude yourself. That should say Speedway. I'm sorry, just caught that. You prepare something, look at it 5 times. So it was Speedway and Cumberland were excluded from the inception, not Southport. So in 2006, we assisted the city of Beech Grove in withdrawing from the district after the passage of a new statute that allowed an excluded city or town to remove itself from the Marion County Stormwater District. Prior to that, there was no removal process. And then in 2016, we also assisted the city of Southport to withdraw from the district. Interestingly, we were actually contacted on a couple of occasions by the prior administration here in Lawrence about withdrawing, and advised them that we could assist them in that. They had another opinion from another attorney that said they could not withdraw at that time, but we had actually some discussions with the prior mayor about this issue as well. Just to give you a little update, Marion County has undertaken a series of stormwater fee increases that are currently set. It was sort of a doubling at the start several years ago. We all paid that on our property tax bill and noticed it. And it is scheduled to increase by approximately 5% per year through 2034 in order to undertake projects throughout the county. So stormwater fees by statute are paid with your property tax bills. They actually can also be billed separately, but Marion County chooses to pay those on your property tax bills, paid twice a year. And then those funds are deposited in a dedicated fund that can be used for educating the public, administrating the district, and planning and constructing stormwater projects. So in Lawrence, just some of the history here for you all to consider. There's actually, from the outset, there has been an Indianapolis Code section that requires all fees collected in an excluded city to be used for projects that are in or benefiting the excluded city. My experience has been that the Stormwater District, Department of Public Works in the past, when we had these discussions on behalf of Beech Grove and on behalf of Southport, did advocate that fairly distant projects, perhaps with some justification, benefited the excluded city. Projects that may be very far away downstream had a benefit. The fees collected in the city of Lawrence through 2018 have totaled about $15 million. About $5 million have been dedicated to either debt service to pay off bonds as Lawrence's portion of that, or to administrative costs of the district. So theoretically, the balance of $10 million should have been expended exclusively by the district for projects that benefit the city, either in the city or close to the city that benefit the city. The mayor has undertaken since 2017 significant discussions, first through Jim Gutting that used to advise here, and then through our firm to encourage and unilaterally between the mayor and DPW and the mayor of Indianapolis, to allocate more funds to both city projects and operation and maintenance, without, always in good faith, always good discussions. I'm not critical of anyone in that regard. It has been in good faith, but really without significant movement, expression of a desire to expend more here, but without the result. And in fact, those projects that we'll go through here in a moment, some were allocated here and have been postponed for some time. So in our recent discussions, we asked the Marion County District to share with us both the completed and planned projects that they believe benefit the city. And that list included approximately $9 million worth of projects that either are planned or have been completed that are claimed to have fulfilled this requirement to expend those funds to benefit the city. The first was 6454 Carroll Road Culvert. That was done. It's about $235,000, completed a couple of years ago. The one that the administration, Sri and others kind of raised their eyebrows at was the Pogues Run Detention Basin, which you pass on the south side of I-70 as you proceed downtown. That's fairly significantly far removed from the city of Lawrence. They have allocated $1.7 million of that project to benefit the city. About 1.2 of that has been expended so far, 575,000 remain. There's a trades district drainage project in about almost $2 million. Just planning has occurred on that one. I think that's the one that the mayor indicated has been postponed several times. It was to happen in 2017 or 18. It's now postponed to 2021 or later without any real guarantee that it's going to happen. 47th and Richart is the other significant project on the list, benefiting, very clearly benefiting the city. That's a $5.2 million project. Just a little over $2 million of that has been expended, with about $3 million planned in the future. And then a smattering of other smaller projects, the Lawrence Master Plan at $100,000, a Geis Woods Bank for $200,000, which hasn't proceeded yet, and then two other smaller projects that have been completed. That whole list is $9.1 million, which is impressive towards the $10 million total. Only $4 million of that has been completed to date. And again, that $10 million figure was a 2018 figure. There's been about $3 million in fees that have been collected just in the city of Lawrence since that time. So that is one of the reasons the mayor has brought this proposal forward for you to consider today. I mentioned the Stormwater Act amendment that actually was advocated by Beech Grove so that they could withdraw themselves for many of the same reasons that we're explaining here. Few projects within the city of Beech Grove's limits. That act allows, in Section 32, excluded cities to withdraw by giving notices to property owners and to the Marion County Department of Public Works, adopting an appropriate ordinance of withdrawal, that's Proposal 12 that you have before you this evening, and establishing its own stormwater district. The ordinance takes effect 60 days after final adoption. There have been a few, President Chaves rightly, and your council asked, well, why, both last year when we first discussed this with the president and with Chris, but chose not to bring it to the council with the hope that we could resolve things, was, well, why do we have to do this? In fact, the schedule has you adopting the ordinance at your October 21 meeting, which I know you prefer not to take action at. The ordinance takes effect 60 days by statute after its final adoption. So if you waited until November, it would not take effect until next January. And you'll find out there's a very important reason for it to take effect before the end of the year in just a moment. So notice through Scott Salisbury and his team, notice, and a contractor, notice has gone out to 15,760 property owners. Approximately 200 returns a couple of weeks ago. Looks like that's consistent from Scott's nod back there. And then we gave written notice to the Department of Public Works that the council would be considering the ordinance on final passage on October 21st as required by statute. So what's the effect of withdrawal? First of all, the act provides, this is an important one, if district bonds are outstanding on the date of withdrawal, the excluded city continues to pay its pro rata share until bonds are satisfied. We had a little difficulty getting that figure. I actually, Madam President, if you would like, I have kind of a chart, if you would like to see that.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
No.
I started over there, so they have them, and the other side is not. They have them. They already have me. The president and the other side.
Thank you.
Got you all messed up. I said I got you all messed up.
So this is the, thank you, this is district's kind of standard show of what outstanding debt is. If you look over to the right hand, there's some orange. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4 lines below the orange, you see a figure 564,807 in the second column. That's Lawrence's pro rata share, 564,807. Now, that would be the debt service, if this is accurate, and I'll tell you why I'm not sure about that yet. If this is accurate, then that 506,847 amount would be Lawrence's pro rata share of outstanding indebtedness for 2021. The year before, 415, I believe, is 2020, which would come out of the payments that you're going to receive this year. Now, here's why I'm uncertain if this is 100% accurate. If you start on the left, you see these outstanding bond issues. The 2014A is the pink one there. You count over 4, and you see 2020 projects, stormwater. That was this year. I don't know if they had a 2020 bond issue this year. There were a lot of things that got postponed because of COVID. They might have had one, uncertain if they did. The next column says 2021 projects storm water. I don't know if that is a prior bond issue, that payments are just beginning there, and I'm uncertain. Sri, do you have any? I didn't get a chance to ask you about that. This is something we're going to have to find out. So the worst case scenario is what appears in that second orange column about the future. So $415,000 of indebtedness allocated to Lawrence on down, tailing off in 2052 to $150,000 of indebtedness. So as you collect the fees in the future, if you proceed with the resolution of removal, there will be from the 1.8 or $2 million or $3 million in fees in the future. We'll talk about that in a moment. That percentage will be deducted before it is received by you. Still receiving millions of dollars, $1 million+ dollars, but still carrying your share of the debt, which Beech Grove had to do and Southport had to do as well. So that's the estimate on the debt, and that actually is slightly different than what I have in the presentation here of 2020 to 26 being less than, well, I guess that's still accurate. 2020 to, now I see, no. So I had $300,000 per year from 2020 to 2026. That's not exactly accurate. It's really the under $600,000 per year from 2022 to 2026 or 7. Levels off after 2031 at $350,000 per year or less. Okay, so there will be some deduction of the fees that you will receive in the future by this. This will be a topic of discussion and clarification with the Department of Public Works, so we have accurate figures for the future.
Okay, so.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a lot. So let me see here. If I go to the middle column and I go 4 down from the orange.
Yes.
That's 564,807.72.
Yes, ma'am.
So we would have to make those payments all the way through?
Yes.
To 2052.
Presuming the 2020 and the 2021 figure columns actually happened and are outstanding.
So those are, and I think you said this, but I just want to clarify so we're all on the same page.
Yep.
These are worst case scenario.
Right.
If 20 and 21 were not bonded, these numbers are lower.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
We'll have that clarified. So I'd rather present you the worst case scenario. So for instance,
Okay.
I'll get to the punchline here, which is always the good punchline. If you successfully withdraw before the end of the year, the statute says that the fees that were collected this year, which are approximately $1.85 million, will come to the city. Okay? This year's fees. Now, there will be some deductions from that, which we'll talk about in a moment, but the most important one will be $415,580 in debt service. So you still will receive $1.4 million. But when that is distributed by the treasurer, they will take out the debt payment first. Now, in the future, that's all that will be taken out. This first year, there'll be a few more things that will be a topic of discussion with the Department of Public Works, and I think those are on the next page.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the punchline. If you get out before December 31, 2020, then you get this year's fees. That's why we're coming to you with the inconvenient timing before the end of the year to make this happen quickly. The mayor really wanted to give as much time as possible for the DPW to say, okay, we're going to do these projects. Here's some more projects, and we got a lot of nice discussion, friendly talk. Please don't leave, but no real commitments.
Okay. Councilor Chevrolet?
That football's been pulled from us for the last year, so I'm beyond that. But I'm just curious, maybe it's coincidence, I don't think so, but for years, we've been at, the Lawrence's portion has been at 250, 265,000, and then all of a sudden, 2021, our obligation is now double.
Right.
It goes from 266, now we're at 415, now we're at 564, and the apex, the highest, is slated for 2022. Is that just?
So up until 2016, you had, up till 2006, it was spread across 4 excluded cities. Or I'm sorry, 3 excluded cities up top there.
Oh.
And then Beech Grove came off. And then 2016, Southport came off.
Okay.
Then you'll notice, then, Rick, I'm sorry, Councilor Chevrolet, in the left column, orange column, you see that Marion County's share also goes up significantly. That's because they started these debt payments in the 2020 and 2021 column, which we have not confirmed yet are reality. We should plan that they probably are, but maybe we'll be very lucky and they have not incurred these payments yet, and this is just an illustration of what's planned in the future.
Okay.
It's been a little difficult to ask them questions at this point.
Can't imagine why.
As you might imagine.
Councilor Whitfield?
I'd like to ask a quick question while we're on that. So, just for my clarifying,
Sure.
my understanding is, so if we select to pull out this year,
Yes, ma'am.
in the next few days, it seems like, the only consequences to the city will be the debt that we have to pay from the installment payments.
There are a few more consequences, and I'm going to get to those next. Okay, let's go, unless there's another question, I'll go right to that.
I do have a question, Madam President. Just to clarify, so Beech Grove and Southport, they pulled out in, what are the years again?
Beech Grove withdrew in December of 2006.
Okay.
Southport withdrew in December of 2016.
And how have they seen, I mean, I don't know if this is the right question, but have they seen a lot of benefit from pulling out? Like, has it been positive?
Yeah, there haven't been any complaints that I don't represent either as general counsel. I came in, well, actually Beech Grove I did at that time, but Southport I came in for this specific project. They implemented a smaller fee than what the mayor is proposing for you to do. Beech Grove did not, at the time, did not adopt, any fee. So I don't know, I presume they have changed that position since when the Marion County quadrupled its fees. It would have been silly not to. So I don't know the answer to that. No one's picked up the phone and called me and said, holy heck, we have a problem here. So, which I presume they would.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not aware of any. Councilor Wessler, thank you. Okay, so back to the effect of the withdrawal, which will get Councilor Whitfield to your question. So presuming you all are successfully adopt this ordinance by November, before November 1, sorry. Before November 1, it has 60 days of before it's effective. So let's just presume it's on October 21 at your next meeting. Then you would receive by statute, you receive the approximate $1.8 million, which will be this year collected. It has to be deposited into a special dedicated fund that can only go for the three things that we talked about: education of the public, administration of the Department of Stormwater, and projects, all right, including operations and maintenance. Now, for this first, you have pro-rata debt that I said here was $300,000. Since then, I've gotten a figure that looks like it's actually 415. It's tough to, these columns are so far apart, it's tough to match them. I've counted them several times. When I have it on the computer, I can tell. I believe it's either the 266 figure or the 415 figure that will be deducted the first year. Now, here's the additional item, Councilor Whitfield. The city has not paid stormwater district fees charged by the district on its public buildings. This is not inconsistent with Beech Grove, who refused to pay those to another governmental entity, and the city of Southport that refused to pay those to another governmental entity. I've been informed by Mr. Salisbury that that's about $450,000 for your public buildings since inception of the district, since 2000. So it would be right and proper, and the Stormwater District, Marion County will no doubt demand that those payments are made before they tender their balance. So that gets you down to a little bit more than $1 million that you'll receive in fees from this year. The mayor has indicated that we will be pursuing discussions with the DPW about, given the disparity in what's really happened and what should have happened pursuant to the Marion County code, the ordinance that I showed you, that if you collect it, it's got to be paid to benefit. Even in their best case scenario, they only came up with $9.1 million of projects. So there's about a $5 million disparity in there. I think the first thing that the mayor would like to have done is those projects that are scheduled, that were on that list before, to encourage the Marion County Stormwater District to complete those projects. And we've had some indication that that's not an unreasonable request. And we're going to work with them to try to, and you, to try to make that happen. Okay. So there were other issues between the other two excluded cities that withdrew that they tried to settle in all of this as well. I'm not aware that there are any other issues between Indianapolis and Lawrence, but this would be a nice time to try to wrap a bow around all of it and move on. So the treasurer technically has these funds. In both of the prior instances we were involved in, there was some delay in posturing in getting that money to the point we actually drafted a complaint for one of those entities and shared it with DPW, and the money was shortly forthcoming. That's still on my computer, that complaint. I can substitute the name for Lawrence if we have to. I don't think we'll get there. DPW has been decent about this. They were not pleased. They sent representatives from the engineering community to meet with your engineers to try to discourage any type of leaving, because it's money out of the Marion County Stormwater District's pocket, you know. So I don't fault anyone for that. Any questions about that?
Mr. Bosman, if I may.
Councilor Wells, you have the floor.
In your letter that you sent us, you were saying, because it said on your thing up there on the screen, that 47th and Richard remains the project for that?
Yes, sir.
And my understanding, it was completed, and that's in my district, but yet your letter said that it wasn't completed, and it says, you said here there's 2.9 remaining on it?
I can answer that, Councilor Wells. So the
Great.
first phase of that is completed.
It is completed?
The first phase is the one that's completed, that you see there. But there's a second phase of that is currently under design, which we don't know when it is going to be built. So the total value is 5.2. Only the first phase was completed. The bigger portion is still out there.
So if, they also said in your letter that if we withdraw from that, that will not see that from
Well, that was my impression, not so much the legal opinion. There was, when we first informed DPW of the city's desire to withdraw, there was not the most favorable response. And I drafted that memorandum shortly after that. I think perhaps heads have cooled slightly, and there is a $5 million disparity between what the district should have spent in Lawrence and what it has spent in Lawrence. And I mean, the city code, the Marion County, Indianapolis-Marion County City Code is fairly clear. So they should have spent the money here, or at least someplace close to here that truly benefited the city of Lawrence. So I'm not saying that that can't possibly happen, but it'll be a topic of discussion. And as I indicated, the mayor's very hopeful that discussions can encourage those projects to be completed.
Well, if I remember correctly, putting my way back hat on, from previous administration, we were paying into it, but we weren't signatory to this agreement with the Marion County Stormwater, which is why we weren't reaping any benefit from it. Is that not true? Or
That's not correct.
That's not correct?
No, sir.
Okay, because that's what we were told back when. But
I have no doubt you were. That's not correct. The statute is clear. The Marion County ordinance is clear.
Okay.
So essentially, they collect the fees, they provide
Right.
work. Okay. Another question is, the 2.9 million, well, I guess I'm looking at the projects that basically say remain, right?
Yes.
If I understood you correctly, we haven't confirmed which one of those that say remained actually have been bonded.
Have been funded?
Yeah.
Well, the portion that says listed was the exhibit to the memorandum that I gave you. That was DPW's chart, not ours. DPW shared that with me. They shared it with Sri also. And they said, hey, well, we've done $10 million, or we're going to do $10 million nearly of projects, 9.9. But when you go through the chart, there were 9.1 million listed. They'd only completed 4.1 to date. So there were 5 million even on their list that were subject to being, completed in the future. And Sri may have these figures better, but one of these, the mayor told me, was to be completed in 2017, and it got postponed to 2018, 2019, 2020, and now it's out to 2022 or something like that. Is that right? So, I mean, there's two things here. First of all, we hope that we can convince the Marion County Stormwater District to complete these projects. If not, after the first year, when the city of Lawrence will receive $1 million, the city of Lawrence will be receiving $1.2, $1.4, $1.5 million every year, and you can actually bond on that if you choose to do so and can create a fund, or bond with part of it, and create a fund to complete these projects and much more, and also have money for operation and maintenance, which you don't receive today.
That kind of leads into my question, and I apologize if this might go a little further, but excuse me. These projects here are listed in the Lawrence Master Plan, I would assume? The ones that remain?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. So the ones that remain have not, do they score the highest in our master plan?
That's true. That's kind of a priority, but that master plan was done 3 years ago. So the priority might have changed. They have not revisited the master plan the last 3 years based on rain events and based on the other scenarios, because the rain events have changed.
Right. So that's what I was getting at, is that once we come out of this, we have the freedom to let our professionals take a look and rescore what we think is most important, because those things may not necessarily be.
Correct. So we will have to reevaluate the master plan and do a added study to that, make sure that these projects are still our high priority.
So we shouldn't get too caught up in the projects that remain, because really we get out, we scratch that, and we could potentially, if we choose to, and move forward a different way.
I'm pretty sure the 47th and River, the phase 2 of that, that's that's gonna happen for the 2.9 million that remains, that is a higher priority, so we might end up doing that. But
Right.
that once we evaluate that, well, we can figure that out.
Okay.
So one of the reasons we showed you these figures, Counselor, and all of the counselors, in the chart that was attached somewhat. I mean, you all are in political circles, and someone's going to approach you from the city or from the city council and city county council and say, well, hey, we're doing $10 million. We did $10 million of projects. And you go, well, yeah, you had $10 million on a list, but we really only had $4.1 million worth of projects, when in fact, there were something like $18 million in fees had been collected through this year in the city of Lawrence.
Since the inception.
That was the other question, I'm sorry, that was the other question I had was, how much total money has been collected since the inception? $18 million, and even with their figures, they've only spent.
Well, they've proposed to spend 10. They've actually spent 4.1.
Out of the 18 to date.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Madam President, I don't want to make this too long.
I just want to make sure that's clear so that when we do get approached, we can give that answer. You've taken 18 from us and only given us 4 over the last 20 years.
Well, pardon me, your computer wants to reboot here. Hopefully it won't. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me get back to where we were here. And as I indicated, the pro-rata debt, that won't be a topic of discussion other than confirming what the amounts are. Statute says you have to pay that. The unpaid city solid waste district fees, they will have the fees, right? And before they give it to us, they will deduct that. That's just been my experience, and that's not incorrect.
Yeah, rightfully
It should have been paid, and then we have this offset claim to receive help on future projects. Okay, so y'all were on top of this, I can't even tell you the year now. You actually have part of your code that was adopted in maybe 2013 that established your own Department of Stormwater Management. You have several code sections that apply to this at your code, City Code 11314. The board consists of 3 directors. They're appointed by the mayor. Of course, the budget and stormwater fees are subject to approval by the council. And upon appointment, the board, we are already preparing, and we'll share it after we've done an internal with the administration. We'll share it with Chris also, so you can see the stormwater fee ordinance that we are proposing that the Stormwater District Board will adopt after a public hearing and then send to you all for your approval. It will mirror the Marion County District fees, including their automatic 5% increases through 2034. While someone could argue you're increasing fees, all you're doing is you're mirroring exactly what's in place. Nobody's going to pay a penny more than they're paying currently. It just changes who receives the money and gives the city of Lawrence autonomy, as you pointed out, to direct your own future with respect to stormwater management.
So city code.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said that was the makeup of the Stormwater Board was passed in 2013 by
Let me check, see if I have the date right here. Yeah. It was actually 2014. It was Ordinance 13 passed on September 2, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
How often do we have the right as a council to raise those fees?
You can do it at any time.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we actually explored, Counselor, to see if we could just legally adopt a ordinance that says, hey, whatever theirs is, ours is too. We couldn't find any support for that. So we're actually drafting an ordinance that looks very similar to the Marion County ordinance. It's based on impervious area. That's a fancy term for roof and driveway and parking lots where water doesn't percolate through, but in fact runs off. And currently, I estimated in the memorandum that you saw that average homeowner may pay $50 a year for stormwater. It may even be less than that for the average home. I know at my home, which is 2,800 square feet, we pay about $60 a year. So it'll be in that area. And then, of course, if you have a larger area, you've got a big parking lot, even a small parking lot, that, of course, changes your impervious area units. Okay, so presuming again, I don't want to presume what you do, presuming you go forward with this and you withdraw and establish your own, you confirm your own stormwater district and establish fees, the 2021 stormwater fees will continue to be collected by the county treasurer along with property taxes. There is a fee that is paid at $10 per parcel per year. We tried to knock that out for for Southport and without success. And allegedly every other entity other than the city itself, every other special taxing district pays this $10 per year fee, so it's $5 per item or per payment. Okay, quick timeline just to review for you. Notice to all property owners and the DPW went out on September 18th. This is your first reading of your proposal of withdrawal. We have requested that you consider the final adoption. We've actually noticed taxpayers that you will be considering the final adoption on October 21. I did this after discussions with Chris, who, of course, consulted with President Chavis. Sorry to do that on that date, knowing you don't like that at those meetings, but we had to do it if you want your $1 million. We had to get it done before November 1. Then on presuming you move forward, on October 30th, there'll be publication of notice of a public hearing on the Lawrence stormwater rates. That will be by the City Stormwater Board, not you all. We have currently penciled in November 10th for that hearing to take place, and then returning to you all on the 18th for the first reading of an ordinance to approve the stormwater fees, and then final adoption on December 7th of the ordinance establishing stormwater fees and rates. And then we would publish the stormwater rates, presuming that's required because there's any type of penalty in them, which there's likely to be. And then the effective date of withdrawal would be December 21. The statute requires us to give both a notice to DPW and a certified list of residents for the treasurer's office to be sure that we know who should be billed for their stormwater in the future. And then January 1, the new stormwater rates come into effect. Happy to answer any further questions. Sorry to belabor this, but I wanted to be sure you all understood what the process was.
Well, I think if, Sri, if you could come forward and just, I know I've gotten this concern for a few council members as it relates to our city's ability to take on this function, something that we haven't done.
So two things. One is the new projects. The second is O&M, the operations and maintenance. So for the last several years, even though Indies collected it and have supposed to be spending over $5 million on O&M, they said, our street department has been doing all the O&M for all the stormwater. So that is not changed, and that's not going to change. And most of the concerns that we get from the residents is about the maintenance of the existing storm systems that's falling apart because so that has not changed, and that is not going to change. Regarding the new projects, just like we do the street projects, we can hire our own consultant and like once we do reevaluate the study, we can hire our own consultant and do the design and bidding process just like Indy would do. So I'm not overly concerned because we are almost doing a lot of that now. Even though Indy is doing some of the projects, I'm very much involved in the design and the stuff of that. So I've done this before. So I'm not overly concerned about the workload that we are taking in because a lot of these projects could be done through contracting. We can bid out maintenance. We can bid out, if street department cannot handle the maintenance, we can bid out maintenance contracts just like public bidding. And we can have a contractor on board for a year to do maintenance as needed. If we have new projects, we can have designers and contractors out to do that project too. So. It's going to be a great benefit to City of Lawrence, in my opinion.
So what about the cost associated with, you know what I'm saying? Can we as a city taking this on basically support the same thing at close to the same cost?
Correct, we can. We are paying everything. Even with Indianapolis is doing it, we are paying for the design, we are paying for every single one of them that's coming out of our money. We'll be doing the same thing, and it's going to be a competitive bidding process. So if Indy bids, however Indianapolis bid it, we bid it. So it's public bidding is the same. So we're going to go through all that same process.
Councilor Chevrolet?
Yeah, along with what Councilor Chavis brought up, I think the concern, or at least the thought, that I've had over the years has been Indianapolis has been able to do this to scale because they're doing other projects. And so to be able to do a project in Lawrence doesn't necessarily cost them the same amount of money as it would be if we just did it ourselves, because they've got contractors that are already. So kind of walk us through how we're going to be able to do this at a less cost or at the same cost than what Indianapolis could when they've already got at their disposal all these contractors already on the books and doing other projects that connect with supposedly what they've done with Lawrence.
So that is actually incorrect information. Any project that is over a certain dollar amount has to be publicly bid out. So Indianapolis is bidding out every single project. They're not going to a contractor. Even their maintenance work, if it is above a certain amount, I think it's 50,000. I think it's 50 or 150,000. You have to go for a public bidding process. So if you look at the 47th and Richard project, that was a publicly bid project. Indianapolis has no control on the cost, nothing. The whoever was the lowest bidder got the project.
Okay.
Same process applies it applies to all public agencies that anything that's above a certain amount has to be publicly bid.
Okay.
So,
gotcha. So let me thank you. That clarifies it. So let me just bringing this in, and you were saying that our street department does most of this work anyway. So are you saying that if we bring this on into the city of Lawrence, that there's not going to be a new budget line item, there's not going to be a whole new crew, there's not going to be additional expense items, that we're going to be able to absorb this within with our existing infrastructure and people?
There might be additional, but what I'm saying is Indiana Street Department does a lot of the maintenance of that. So if we get a call that there is a ponding or for storm sewers falling apart, their crews goes out now and does it, regardless, even though Indianapolis has been paying and taking money from us on the O&M side of that. So we are doing it. With this one, we will have the money to actually hire a contractor for an yearly contract. So if Street Department cannot catch up on that, we can have an on-call contract for a contractor to be on board, and we can just give them, when some things pop up, we can give them that list and he can go do it. So right now we don't have a budget for that, so Street Department has been doing it as much as they can. But if things go up beyond their capacity, then we can always bid out a maintenance contract too.
Okay.
Mr. Hennigan, you have something to add?
Yeah, I was going to help Sheree out here. In this year, we have completed probably 7 major projects. They're in-house. They're fairly large. Indianapolis wouldn't even touch. They've been on the books for 10 years. So he's got a list. That's what we're working off of. So this is not going to put any more extra work on us. I have a dedicated storm crew right now with 3 guys. That's what they do.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor Giles.
Will you be assigning this to the Finance Committee, or, because I looked at this time frame and I didn't know, because I got some finance questions that I don't know if I should ask now or hold them to another time.
I'm going to decide between now and the end of the discussion.
I was thinking the same thing.
This is a lot, and I want to make sure that, one thing that I'm going to make sure that even though we have an October 21st date up there, so I'm looking at the counselors in the room, the 2 counselors in the room. I want to make sure that the council has an opportunity. You know, we're doing a lot of Q&A here, and we've done that amongst each other, even outside of this meeting. If we're going to be in a position to support this, I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity and that they feel good about, you know, how they have casted their vote. So, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're being pushed in a corner and, you know, they just put up a vote, but they don't even know what they really just voted on. That's not going to happen. So is it possible that if by October 21st, and I am going to sign this to committee and we'll have an opportunity to vet it out there, and really when I walked in here tonight, my thought was to assign it to committee as a whole, because I need everybody involved. So that's what we will likely do. But I could call a special meeting that is after October 21st if I wanted to. So that's a question, that's rhetorical. So the key thing is this just needs to be passed before November 1st.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make it October 31st.
Right.
A little bit of time.
But sometime between the 21st and the 28th or something like that.
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to see, and I wanted to put all the counselors at ease, that if we have to have a little bit more time, a It'll take a little bit more time, but if we can do it by the 21st, that'll be our goal. Any other questions for these gentlemen?
Go ahead.
Councilor Rusamoroff, then Councilor Wells.
I have just one question regarding, they talked about education and some other uses of these stormwater management fees. Will we have an opportunity to look at stormwater management in a more holistic way? I mean, looking at rain barrels, rain gardens, some other methods of doing stormwater management besides just putting it downstream?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's part of every project. Is we look at what some of the alternative mechanisms are. We can put hybrid ditches, we can put rain barreling, rain gardens. One other issue with those is those come with a lot of more maintenance. So rather than putting a pipe down there, you have a rain garden or a hybrid ditch, then it puts more maintenance on us. So we have to weigh in during the design phase, we weigh the benefit analysis. So yeah, there is opportunity for us to look at all that when we have our own money, yeah.
Great, good question. Councilor Wells.
Yes, if I'm reading this chart right, we didn't start recovering any of the money that we put into this until 5 years ago in 2015. Is that right?
Where do you draw that conclusion, sir? I'm sorry. Which chart are you looking at?
The numbers code.
I was looking at the bond year and then where it says refunding stormwater for stormwater projects.
This is just a payment chart. So you started payments in 2002, actually on pre-existing debt that got rolled over from the old flood control district to the stormwater district when it was created. So you've been paying on debt from day one, and you've been paying fees from day one, and out of that, you've had 4.1, and the total today, to date, is something along the lines of 18 million, and you've received $4.1 million. That includes the Pogues Run project, which some would say is pretty far afield. So if you count that as benefiting the city, you've received 4.1 million out of the 18 million.
That's counting Pogue Run. Saying we received.
That's counting $1.7 million of Pogue Run, yeah, or $1.2 million on Pogues Run.
Well, I remember it was 5 years ago, thereabouts. You know, I've been a council member now for 5 years, or almost 5 years. When we first started, a representative from Marion County Stormwater came and addressed the council, if I remember correctly, and some of you were here as I was. They said that we weren't, like I said, as I said earlier, we were contributing into it, but we weren't signatory to it, and therefore that's why we weren't getting anything out of it.
That is absolutely and unequivocally incorrect.
Well, I remember that's what we were told.
I'm sure someone said that. I have no doubt that someone said that.
Okay.
It was probably in response to the prior mayor's effort to consider
I think it was.
withdrawal.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, there's no signatory that you have to be to. There's a statute that says you're part of the district, and there's a code section that says if it's collected in the excluded city, it must be paid for projects in or benefiting the excluded city. There's no signatory that's necessary.
Okay. All right, thank you.
May I?
Yes, Councilor Rusamoroff.
Really quick, this may be kind of a dumb question, but I'm a little bit confused about the combined sewer system that they're decoupling from in the city of Indianapolis. Does this project relate to that project at all, or they're totally separate, no pun intended?
Okay. And that may have actually been what you're recalling, Councilor Wells. There was an agreement on sanitary and combined sewers. There may have been something in conjunction with that, which we also assisted the city in extracting itself in a portion. That may be what you're thinking of.
It's been a while back, but I do remember a representative from Marion County being here and addressing the council, and I would have thought that's what he said. Like I said, it's been a few years back.
Mike Massoni was here. I remember Mayor mentioned that. So, yeah, there was something.
Thank you so much. I think we have gotten clarification on that, so thank you for that.
Sorry for the time.
That's okay. That's why you got moved up in the agenda.
Thank you very much. So 2 things, Madam President. First of all, Chris and I are not only colleagues, but we see each other and we email buddies if you have a question that you want to run through, Chris, we will strive to answer it immediately. I will make myself available on the 21st, and I have that on my calendar already, so I'll be here. The public could be here. You don't have to have a public hearing on it. That's not the requirement. It's to give the public notice that you're acting on the measure. If you choose to take questions from the public, that's fine. I'll be here to assist that night if you want it. And I will do my very best, subject to calendar, to get to any other meeting or committee meeting that you have. We'll try to get your questions answered. Again, I know this comes up and boom, it has to happen. And I understand the concern about that. You want to know, as I would sitting in your seat, exactly what's transpiring. I can tell you that having assisted Beech Grove through this process, having assisted Southport through this process, having consulted now with 2 administrations on this process, and this administration and the president last year, when this almost came to a head, and this year, if I were you, I would have no hesitancy on taking control of your own stormwater future. I asked this exact same question. Whoever asked that, do you have the capacity to do that? That's exactly what I asked in one of our meetings. Said, most of this is from contractors. We will have a contractor that will put together our master plan, will assist us with projects, we'll bid them, as Councilor Shevlot asked, just like any other public project. You, however, will have control through your Stormwater District Board. The city will have control over what projects are funded, and you will actually have money to fund it. So the O&M that's being paid today, for which there are no funds other than your existing funds, there will be money in the Stormwater District funds to pay O&M. You can bond projects, you can pay for projects as they go.
And just for clarification, and I know you said this earlier, but I've gotten this question from a couple of counselors already. Any bonding will come through the council to approve.
Yes, absolutely.
Any what?
Bonding.
Yeah, bonds, if it's an appointed board, bonding has to come to an elected, the supervising elected body to approve. Okay, thank you very much, members.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, now we get to Controller Fenwick's item. All right, thank you so much.
All right.
Let me get myself prepared. Get back to my agenda. Okay, now I'm going to open it up for the public hearing for proposal number 8, 2020. If the clerk could read that by title.
Proposal number 8, 2020, introduced by Councilor Denny, a proposal for an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates for the 2021 budget year.
Okay, I've opened it up to public hearing. Is there anyone from the public here? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Proposal number 8, 2020. Okay, next on the agenda is comments of the administration. No comments? Thank you. Citizens' comments. And if you can please step forward. In one moment, we'll get the sign-up sheet up here, and then I will have you state your name and your address for the record. Okay? You can proceed.
Hi, my name is Tammy Myers, and I live at 8348 Crystal Point Lane.
Okay, go right ahead.
I'm here to request a sidewalk up near my neighborhood on the east side of Oaklandon Road that would connect the new stoplight going in at Fox and Oaklandon to the entrance of the Highlands at Geist, so that there is a safe way for all of those neighborhoods in that northeast corner of Lawrence to reach the intersection at Fox and Oaklandon and all the businesses, schools, and churches located at that intersection.
And I think there's, everyone should have the map. And there's also a copy of an email regarding that.
So when we first heard about the new stoplight going in, I contacted the Department of Public Works and asked for some information to see if a new sidewalk would be included there. And Janelle Bunton did get back to me and gave me a little bit of information about what would be there, and I emailed her back, and I don't know if you have the second page of the email, but there is a screenshot of the area, and the area marked in red is where I'm requesting a new sidewalk, because to get from any of the neighborhoods in that northeast corner bounded by Carroll, 86th, 79th, and Oaklandon, you have to go down the right-hand turn lane going north on Oaklandon Road to get to the neighborhood. There's no safe way to walk, bike. So my son goes to school at Holy Cross Lutheran, which is right at that intersection. They won't let him walk home to our neighborhood where he doesn't have to cross a major street because there's no safe way to get to any of those neighborhoods. So. You know, that area of town, we've got a lot of nice neighborhoods. You know, the homes are well maintained, single family homes. They don't connect to anything. There's not a single sidewalk, trail that will connect across any of the major roads that's the boundary of those neighborhoods. So, yeah, it's not much. And, you know, all I'm looking for is really a simple asphalt trail maybe we could bike to, you know, so that we can get to the churches, we can bike ride to some of the restaurants or the stores at that intersection.
Thank you. Thank you so much for presenting that to the council. I will tell you that several council members live in District 6 or very close to District 6. So we're very familiar with that area and the lack of sidewalks. So thank you for coming and presenting your concern to the council.
For your consideration.
Madam President, may I ask her one question?
If you have questions, can you stay around after the meeting and answer any questions? Councilor Zamora has some questions for you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much. The meeting's adjourned.